because people know that if you do something wrong, you will pay the price. Here, Dubai, you can actually achieve anything you want. If you compare from London to Singapore or Hong Kong, there is only one place almost to do business, Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Emotional return. So this is for usually the wife.
A lot of developers now collaborating with the brands.
Exactly.
Like, high fashion brands, car brands. And as you said, every brand has their loyal public.
I want something to look like Ferrari, but I want to pay Toyota price.
Welcome to Xenia Talks. As a person who has been 10 plus years in real estate in Dubai, I know how huge is the difference in the two meanings of house and a home. And usually this difference comes from a feeling once you enter the place that you're living in, with satisfaction, with aesthetics and the comfort. Today I have a very special guest. This person knows everything about how to turn any house not only to a beautiful home, but into architectural masterpiece. The man behind, who brought actually to Dubai the vertically integrated designs and boutique excellence in creating the living space and working space. Managing director and owner of CK Architecture Interiors and CKC Building Contracting, Cem Kapanjoglu. Cem, I'm absolutely flattered to have you here today, and I know how busy you are. In our busy schedule during the life in Dubai, sometimes it's so hard to find even 1 hour to answer those questions, but I'm so happy you're here. It's also because I'm in real estate and you're in architecture, and those two businesses go hand in hand.
Yes.
And sometimes we share the same clients.
Yes,
well.
You're right. Yeah.
So, of course, my first question will be, how did you start? How did you move into the architecture? How did you build your vision to have such a huge company right now with international offices around the world?
I'm here in Dubai since 2005. I came for an internship. So I think it's been almost 18 years now. It was a short internship. I stayed like almost 1 year. Then I moved back to Istanbul. But the companies that are working in Istanbul start sending me here. And I started with the Zabil Investment merge with Rixos Hotel Group at that time. I'm sure you know Zabil, Zabil Saray. So I was one of the design managers there, and I became the design coordinator.
Turkish hotel with the best spa in Dubai.
I think, honestly speaking, it was a very big project. It started as like around $350 million and then ended up 420. It was a 410 key hotel with 40 villas. I think if you just put my background in Istanbul, Mimar Sinan Fine Arts University Architectural Division, and my master degrees in construction management, I think Dubai made me in that sense, because when I came 2005 until 2009, Lehman Brothers crisis, in that 4 years, we have done like maybe $500 million project altogether. We have done Zabil Saray. We worked in many very, very VIP projects.
It's an amazing start as well.
I think for a young architect, to have that learning curve was really... And the interesting in Dubai is, like, if you compare most of the part of the world, especially I can compare, I think, with Turkey, that the multidisciplinary work was from different part of the world. A lot of cultures and companies coming and bringing the best they have. I think that kind of teach me a lot in that sense. In that 3-4 years, that learning curve was crazy.
And I have to say that as far as of what I've seen, Turkish designs and Turkish approach to architecture, it's one of the best in the world.
I agree with that. I think most of it not becomes only because of the because architecture is all about the resources that you have. So it's a very resource-driven, supply chain-driven business. In Turkey and in this part of the world, especially Dubai, the resources are, the supply chain and the resources are much more different. Here, Dubai, you can actually achieve anything you want because there is huge resource, very easy to enter in terms of markets. If you compare from London to Singapore or Hong Kong, there is only one place almost to do business, Abu Dhabi and Dubai, in terms of English speaking, we can say almost, common law applied, maybe in the AFC, but all are all in Dubai. So it's, I think, very transparent. Anyone who knows English and with a certain amount of money, or even without money, you can come and open a business here and start your own thing. Or you just come here and you work a couple of years, you can start a business. I think that makes a lot of difference if you compare.
And you would say less competition, considering the fact that not that many things were introduced to Dubai. Like the niche was at that time when you came. I think the niche of
that time actually the competition was less.
Yeah,
the competition was much less. Now the competition is really fierce. The margins are going down, but it's not a negative thing. I think it's a positive thing for the investors because it's attracting a lot of investors from different parts of the world. They just need to do the right business for themselves.
And also with the right companies, which will be fitting their requirements.
I agree. So they need to know who to work and how to do this based on the location, based on the scale they want. And I think especially the investors here are very lucky.
Why would you say so?
Because here, first of all, there is transparency.
Right.
When you enter, you know how much you have to pay, who to pay. There is no taxes. Security
That's
is
the
very
main one. Wow.
There is no taxes. There is security here and the rule of law. Like if you look at a lot of places in the world, people don't trust each other. But here, people are, maybe you can say, scared, or they do it for natural reasons.
Right.
There is, a good amount of trust people do that you don't see in many places, because people know that if you do something wrong, you will pay the price. You will not be staying here for long.
100%.
So I think this is something also makes the investors very lucky. Anyone, as I told you, speaking English and has money come here and he can establish a company and really invest in Dubai. And I don't think short term is a good way of making money, but I think in the mid-term and the long term, they will for sure succeed. I have seen so much success stories here. Of course, you have to be very careful in your cost side. You have to be very careful because Dubai is a really expensive place. But I think also you can get a lot of extra benefits from that also, especially being in a very strategic point. You can reach out Africa, you can reach out Asia, you can reach out even Europe. I think it's a very in a good position now in that sense.
So your clients' profiles, they really vary.
Yes,
definitely there is.
honestly,
First
it's
of all, multicultural, definitely.
I can say Russian. I
But
can
would
say
you like categorize some profiles of the clients that coming to get like really beautiful designs and
let's first of all put the scale up.
Yeah.
The scaling is very important because now in our line of business in real estate, we have three main scales. One of them is a city. So you design city or a part of a city, so a master concept.
Massive.
So that's related with about a city's relation. And then the other thing comes, which is the part of the, we call it architecture, right? Like it's about a building and its surrounding. And then the interior design comes, right? It's about a room.
So you zoom from the bigger to the basically to the zoom in.
So this whole scale, there are different kinds of companies working on that one. Right. So let's focus on the architectural and interior design because, city development or a part of master development is a much more different thing than...
Sure.
It's a bigger thing to deal with. I think if you look at that, architecture is all about the location. So that location drives it. And Dubai has a lot of variety there.
Yeah.
You can think about downtown. You can think about Al Barsha. You can think about Dubai South, Palm, Marina, Blue Waters, Jumeirah Bay. So there are different levels. And I don't think that one company, if they are not very much specialists, so we can talk about these also. There is generalists and there is specialist. So it goes, some goes on the horizontal and some goes deep on inside. So Dubai is very rich on those. So if the investor or the end user wants to do any kind of space, if they find the location, actually they are defining a certain supply chain. That's one of the things, whether knowingly or without knowing, they are doing it.
Most of the time not knowing maybe.
Not knowing maybe, but it's easy for them to learn because here, since there is so much supplier, subcontractor, specialist, it's very easy. Google it and then you will have millions of things that you need to select. Of course, you have to have a good generalizer, I would say. So what it comes down to then, I think it comes down to your design, your designer, because design is done by designer, right? So if you work with the designer, that means that designer actually is giving you, yes, it's giving you a form. You will see an aesthetic form there. But actually, when he designs something, he is giving you a cloud of supply chain. It's very interesting.
Right.
So if he doesn't do that one, it will be difficult for you to actually make it realistic.
Do you refer to the materials that coming from different places? That is a chain supply basically, or is it furniture type, or is it materials mainly?
Let me give you an example.
Yeah.
Of course, our work is very much on the luxury segment and very much niche, but it's not because it's the best thing to do. You can actually do something very much in the small or medium section. You can still make a lot of money or be successful in that one. It's just what life brought us, I would say, because we were in that segment since I started. So I just continued there. Since we started 5-star hotels. The idea here is this. For example, I have given you a bedroom design. Let's keep it simple. And in that bedroom design, there is a wardrobe, right?
Yeah.
So the wardrobe could be Italian brand, Turkish brand.
Right.
It could be a local brand in Dubai. It could be custom made also. Now, this treating, when I design it and when I put it in the render, the actual visuals, I can actually use those suppliers' details, color scheme and everything, and lock the design. Or I can give something very generalized. Now, what is the success? How you measure the success of a design?
Yeah.
So if you put the design thing
The
and the
renders.
real, so is it matching? So if it's matching 100% in terms of visual, and also functionality that you have initially promised to client.
I see.
So who drives that? Not the designer, the supply chain.
The supply chain.
For example, if I design full from the floor to ceiling, 292 centimeter glass, transparent, with very thin frame, I know that I cannot do it with a standard supplier because, and if I want to do concealed hinges, for example, like normal hinges you can always do, but if you want concealed 292, there is a special supplier for that one. Now, devil is in the details.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the more demanding your clients, the more you have to know these details. Of course, if you are looking for a commercial thing, that details doesn't matter. It needs only functionality. But we are looking. So I think it comes back to my client
what
profile.
they want initially.
Exactly. So if you're working with someone who is flying with his private jet, already in 5, main cities in the world, in London, in I would say Tokyo, Istanbul, or maybe, New York, Miami, or Los Angeles, it's a different world he's in, and
The expectations are way different.
Yeah. So
100%.
and honestly speaking, we learn a lot from some of our clients because they know a lot of stuff.
But the question, if I am someone who wants to do the design of my, let's say, villa on the Palm Jumeirah, with all those variations, insane variations of how many designers and designer companies and building contracting, how do I choose? How do I know which one?
It's a good question, actually. There is many. My heart says something, and what really happens in the market is something. Of course, I want them to choose from whatever you have delivered till now. And personally, they trust you, and then you move on. That's what I want, obviously. But the market has dictates certain ways of doing business. I think one of them is you just go to one company and then you take a design and build quotation, which we like, of course, the best one without any tenders, without anything. The second one that most people, I think, tend to use is that they go to a designer and an architect of the record, a local consultant, and they prepare their design and they go for a tender and they collect quotations from different contractors. And then they take the best quotation and the one that they trust the most, and then they choose one of them and they move on. But here, the most important thing is how much money you want to spend at the end and what time you have.
So basically the time frame, the deadline would matter
Exactly.
as
So
well.
you have to actually do, if you want a proper successful project, you have to have a reverse engineering structure there.
Right.
Because let's talk about, for example, Garden Home. Garden Home in Palm Jumeirah. It's kind of a standard because there is three main types. And we know the total built-up area is around 5,000 square meters. Now, if you can buy it in the market around 20 million, cheapest, and if you go higher number, it can be around 30, 35, let's say. Now, if you're an end user, I don't think there is an end how much you want to spend on that one. You can spend 10, 20, 30. Of course, to spend more than 20% of the value of the project, I think you are taking a risk when you're reselling that one. You might not get maybe the money back.
That profit that you're expecting.
Exactly. But that's what they call that one, emotional return. I like this.
First time I hear that, I love it. Emotional return.
Emotional return. So this is for usually the wives, It's funny,
when she
but
gets a bag with bag means nothing.
But you never know how that additional couple of million that you're gonna spend there will change the villa atmosphere. How you're gonna make you feel better. There is no, I think, value for if a person have money. But if you're looking from a business perspective, and if you want, let's talk about developers. And honestly speaking, most of my clients became developers in the last 3-4 months, especially after COVID, because the prices were very, how would I say, beneficial for them to be developer. Even small.
And I think conditions now like welcoming actually.
Yes.
Dubai wants to have more interesting developments coming up.
I think so. And honestly speaking, there is vast majority of supply here because there is lands.
Correct. Desert is long.
Yeah, exactly. That side also. And they are making it really easy to invest in Dubai, honestly speaking. The transparency factor that is there without taxing also.
And prices also still affordable comparing to some other parts of the world.
So.
I mean, if you look at
I agree with you. If you compare, for example, top level London, top level, New York, top level Hong Kong, Singapore, Dubai is still very affordable.
Very much.
Maybe by far very affordable. Of course, there are certain areas catching up that trend, but really rarely. But still, Dubai has a lot of room to improve and to become better than them. If honestly speaking, when we started this very luxury villa things, I went to Bel Air and Beverly Hills and Miami, and also Manhattan, and also of course I knew London before and Europe before. I think Dubai was already there at that time, and also Dubai had an advantage that here the things are much faster than in the US or many parts of the world.
I feel, maybe you will correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel the maintenance level of the buildings and the apartments, the fact that there is always a good maintenance company which is taking care of the building, it gives a way more longevity and freshness to the building itself, comparing to maybe some other parts of the world where, you know what I mean?
I agree, but here I think the government is not leaving it for luck.
Yes.
You have to do certain minimum things requirement, and also here most of the big developments are still managed by the development companies themselves. So for example, Palm, there is a minimum service charge that you have to pay, and there are certain things that need to follow.
And Palm is a crucial thing. At the end, it's an artificial development. So if you don't maintain, God forbid, what can happen, right? With all this water coming up, and
of course,
has
but
to be.
I have never seen, a better place in that sense. Digitalized, first of all. Second one, there is processes are more or less very clear, accessible also. Let's say you don't understand something, you can go and talk to municipality. Of course, there is ways of doing it, but I think it's relatively it's much very transparent than many places. And the processes are more or less there. The players who will be joining, for example, I'll give you an example. Maybe it makes more sense. The rules are very straightforward. If you are going to do fire alarm firefighting in any building in Dubai, there is the specialist that's been approved by civil defense. So it's not like you are
Whoever is there, like,
no, it's not like that. So it's very clear, here, and there is no shortcuts there.
right.
And if you do shortcuts, you're going to pay the price. Either you're not going to get your final building completion certificate, or you're going to have trouble at one point. So
And I think
nobody will.
they clearly understand also the weather conditions, right? We have a humidity almost like 6 months, almost in a year, where it might have a huge effect on, like how the buildings are, the walls, I don't know how you call it in the construction world, but it does affect.
I agree. But again, coming back to the first point that I made, there are certain minimum requirements already defined by Dubai municipality that if you follow them, for example, in Palm Jumeirah, even they come and check at the end of the project, thermal scanning, so that they see if there is any kind of hole in the building, that the air is coming out, the thermal, the heat breach and heat loss or heat gain is kind of controlled, at least in a minimum basic level. So those kinds of things, especially
Very nice.
in most of the main master developers are there. Of course, the more affordable you do, certain things you need to compromise, but also that also gives the other people to do certain things in a cheaper way. I think that also something that Dubai is trying to do now to become more affordable and bring this affordable housing also. We are talking about Palm Jumeirah is one of the best places.
Yeah, one of the highest.
Highest ones also.
The thing is, recently I've seen a lot of developers trying to bring designs already as they build. Like for example, in Russia, I'm Russian actually. So, for example, in our cases, we always get shell and core apartments. And directly the person who is buying the property, already they're by default, they have to do design if they want. The minimum design, maximum design, depending on the property. In Dubai, we always had like this kind of average fit out, right? You can say even normal walls, floor, it's fitted out.
Simple.
Yeah. And but we never had an extra, let's say, right? If you noticed around Dubai project.
Yeah, of course.
Now with the flow of all the people coming now to Dubai since 2020, if you remember, 2022 as well, people started to actually demand more of a, even for the standard apartments, they started to like to have more furniture involved, different style of furnitures, even some fit out, extra fit outs to be in the apartment. So does it affect actually the interior business itself when the developers are trying to bring and design the whole building and sell it as a design building?
A good question. I think it comes down to location. For example, there's a lovely building in the entrance of Palm called One Palm, next to Five Hotel. It's a beautiful building, 92 units only. Yeah. In that location, for example, the amount of money that you can spend for fit out is probably, I wouldn't say endless, but it's quite high. But if you come to a more humble apartment in Dubai South, of course, because besides your own capacity to spend money there, the owner's and user's capacity, there is a limitation that you can spend that money there. But if you're looking for from an end user perspective, I think Dubai has everything now. Like you can buy from IKEA, you can bring it from Italy, you can go to Satwa or Sharjah or in Ajman and then bring a custom made, a cheap one, the same color you want, the same model you want. So there's vast opportunities here for every pocket, I believe. Of course, you have to pay the price. What that price? Either you have to find a good architect, reasonably priced, or you have to go and find it yourself. see, it's everything is coming back to the supply chain. So this is something that really maybe it's not very much underlined, but everything comes down to a good subcontractor, a good supplier makes you king, or makes you lose the taste. I had a friend in Furjan. She said, I'm going to build my own interiors, A to Z. I will do everything myself, and she did this actually. But I think her success, other than she's a very strong lady, not an interior designer, and I was watching with her, and we were talking because she was asking me some questions here and there. At one point, she knew more suppliers than me in a certain level, because there is Dragon Mart, there is certain people already working in that community. So she knew more than me in that specific scale. But of course, she had faced some problems, but she overcome over them. So this is all about the location that you select in Dubai and your research on that one. Would you like to be involved in this one as a client, or you just want to give it to somebody else and let everyone take the headache? So it's all about that thing. But I think Dubai has all the solutions in the pocket. Not only for, I think, only from design or construction perspective. I think for everything.
From any type of, any field, basically.
Yeah,
You
any
can
field.
go, like from the minimum to the maximum. So you would say, I mean, I think when you said depends on location and the capacity of the person himself to do the research, it's also time, right? To do the selection, it's also time. So I think it comes a lot also to the time that you have to be able to spend that on making sure that every single thing, because I mean, my opinion is quite large amount of time has to go for it. To make sure that it's all quality, all what you want, to find the exact color. And
of course, I mean, we have probably around 1,000 suppliers. Like for a villa, and of course the villas that we are doing in the luxury segment, in the Palm and the Jumeirah Bay, they are very complicated villas. Like they are
it's super sophisticated,
super supplier driven, brand driven. It ticks all the boxes. Like let's count, for example, from the beginning till the end. We have specialist shoring companies that you dig, specialist waterproofing companies, specialist concrete and steel suppliers, structural steels are there. Then we have these specialist consultants that we worked, architecture, interior design, mechanical, electrical, structural, lighting design, landscape. And I can add more. We can add security on this one. We can add acoustic on this one. Like so many suppliers there, and it becomes a smart house. Home automation is there. Then you have solar panels. So you start creating your own. So you have green building regulations. You can have LEEDs, the green building, sustainable housing, and then you
especially now it's a kind of fashion to have sustainable and
it's fashion. It's fashionable, but if you really, for example, engineer it in a nice way, you can actually save money on the long run. For example, in the Palm, the villas that we are doing, although they don't need that saving, but still they are choosing to do, and they are saving about a couple of thousand dirham a month, depending on the size of their roof, on that one. And you can also use some systems that you can recycle the water back if you really want to. Again, this is about the approach of the client. There is minimum requirements anyway by Dubai government you need to follow. But for example, the important thing is here, for example, if you were just, let's talk about from a pool perspective. A normal pool, you will last probably 5 to 10 meters, right?
Yeah.
So these pools are like 25 meter by, I don't know, 6-7 meters, even sometimes longer. It has cooling and heating. It has music system inside.
Lighting should be.
Yeah, there is special lighting there. There is some fountains sometimes that are very special. There is TVs coming inside out that one. They have very special tiles.
I think it's unlimited, right? Depends on the imagination.
So what happens is there, Lucy, I have added a lot of supplier here, and this supplier comes with their own requirements and everything. So for you to it becomes complex. So this complexity cannot be done with simple people. You have to have the right team.
Understanding it all.
Understand who has experience on this supply chain, because those information, if they don't come at the right time, either you lose time or you lose money because you have to do double work. By the way, we are not perfect. We are always making mistakes. We learn from these mistakes. But I think here now we are at almost 13 years and in this field, and we
say
know
perfect already.
we have learned a lot of things actually during this time.
And also, when I was, studying more of the profile of the company, like you mentioned that you have in-house solutions. Like most of this is something that I wanted to ask. Like, what is the difference of having it in-house, or as you said, it's maybe external source? Because as you said, a lot of companies just trying to be smart and taking third party from everywhere, trying to bring. How does it affect the quality, or what is it generally affecting?
I think it's going in the more specialist direction. However, it doesn't mean that because it's like an army, right?
Yeah.
It's like army. Armies, the bigger the army, the more difficult they can do smaller jobs.
Correct.
Because they need big wars. Like here, also the same. And there's guerrilla, right? Or the SWAT team. They go and do a specific job and then come back. So now, depending on what you do, if you're doing a simple office job, I don't need you. You need a very specialist contractor.
True.
But if you're doing a very high-end villa or very high-end spa or very high-end hotel, you need someone who has done this job and understand the complexity of this one. So I think this what makes the difference between a standard one and a very specialist one.
Sometimes when people start working on something, they create like specific budget. But then a lot of times when, at least out of my experience, the budget kind of increasing towards more and more and more depending on the situation. Is it something that is usually happens when you do the interiors? It's always there is a little bit of amount that hanging in there just in case, or is it a strict budget that client says, okay, be within this one and that not 1 dirham more, not 1 dirham less?
I think the first thing that I have explained in the beginning of our conversation is that style that you want to do kind of defines that.
Right.
Now, if you want to go, you want a specific time and specific budget, I think design and build is the best. Because you tell, look, this is my budget, this is my time. Give me something that will fit into this one. Of course, there should be trust there because what clients want is more for less price, right? Like this is everywhere in the world. Like
I think it's a general.
Yes, but that's not so the market says, yes, you can do this job if you define it properly, this amount of money. But now what happens is construction and design works from the unknown to the known. So at the end of the project, you understand when you finish it and how much you finish it for. But is your vision, your experience has that final thing with all the calculations? This is where we enter. We tell them, look, we have done this job. This cost this much time, this much money for this much square meter without even there is an actual design on the floor. You want to add certain things other than, because we can show them something that's already been built.
Yeah.
So, we know this cost. This is going to look like the same. And this is the design. These are the what you're going to have.
Yeah.
We're talking about everything, A to Z, a turnkey solution we are talking about. Now, if you don't choose this one, you can still control the price. But then you have to put yourself as client, the end user, inside the game, right? Or you have to have someone representing you. So what you do first? You first do your architectural design and then say, okay, for 5-bedroom, I want a villa like this. This is going to be the basement, car parking, maid rooms, cinema, bowling, spa, whatever you want to add there, you add these things. And then you start, but there is a minimum price you have to pay for that one. Now, if you want to tick all the boxes and expect something, say, less than 1,000 dirham per square feet. I'm giving you actual numbers that I know. I think you are going to be ending up either a very bad quality, very long time, a lot of workmanship mistakes, or you're going to spend maybe 4 years on the job.
Wow.
So this is about the expectation you have. From my perspective, for example, I have never seen something reasonably done in terms of luxury villa in a relatively around 2 years time, less than 1,300, 1,400. I'm talking about including everything inside, including the furniture per square feet, 1,300. It sounds a big amount, but we are talking about, proper slim system windows, proper AC branded
And also
Daikin.
long lasting, right?
Long lasting, and also what is luxury? I mean, if you define luxury for me, not putting everywhere gold, but using the right material at the right place, losing the right brands, right quality in the right place. Now, luxury has to give comfort. Now, what is comfort? You don't want to maintain it all the time.
Right.
You don't want to, and when you sell it, you want to get at least the money that you spend inside.
Right.
So, if everybody now can reach anything now. I mean, if you ask someone, if someone tells me I don't know something, I cannot believe them because you Google it or you go chat GBT.
How to design your own villa.
Exactly, it just gives you a process, right? Like,
Yeah.
but now you know something, right? You know how to do it without experience, but now the question is how to do it, right? So there is a minimum market for that one. Now, on top of that one, what you're gonna do? For example, I'll give you a very simple example. In the Palm or any other place where there's water in the basement. Now, the basic waterproofing system is something that you just put around the building at the bottom also. Black color is called bitumen.
Reserve something, yeah.
Yeah, bitumen, and you just basically put that one like in a kind of a bowl, let's say, okay? But now the new technology gives you something called crystalline. So it's a chemical that you added in the concrete. And so the more water enters, the less possibility of water entering because it's crystallized inside. Now this has a cost. But if you have such an expensive villa and obviously you have basement there, would you really risk to get that dam and water where you want to put one of the best cars that you have in such a place? Now, luxury, I'm defining this one. You don't want headache.
Which is not very visible, but you know what you have at the
Exactly.
end.
So this is
As you said, in details, everything.
so a common practice would tell you, okay, just spend this one. But there might be only for a villa 200, 300,000 gram difference in between. But in the long run, would you like to see water coming in your place, or you want to feel damp? You want to feel you will smell something
Like sewage kind of.
sewage,
so, yeah.
because the water will come from the sea, right? You are doing something in an island, on a basement full of water. So these kind of shortcuts, it's not there in the luxury villa.
I understand.
That's the difference between a standard work and a luxury work, I believe. Of course, there are a lot of other things that we can add on to this one in terms of planning. Like, for example, dividing the people who are working in the villa, separate entrance for the maids, separate entrance for the drivers. Like
They lay out in a way
the
that
layout,
everything is
this is also part
thought
of the
through.
luxury, obviously. But
100%. I think it's even, one of the first thing, because when
Exactly,
you have
of course.
space
Of
and
course.
you have the privacy, I think that's what you refer to.
you have to define those things. You do some clever things. For example, nowadays, some clients choose not to do ramps for their car parking in the basement. Why? Because they don't want to lose the space.
The space. Yeah.
And due to the regulations in the municipality, ramps should be, Dubai is very well regulated, should be around 8%, 8 to 10. So the ramp becomes very long to go down. So what happens is people don't want to go too much down because of the ramp, because otherwise you have to spend a lot of space for your ramp, right? But you want also a high ceiling. Now it kind of clashes each other.
Contradicts.
But if you have the elevator for your car, all of a sudden you just but you have to pay for the price for that one. Not only the price, but also take the risks of other things. Like some people are they want physical. They want to use a ramp and then go up without using an elevator which is electric. So
I understand.
there is psychological factors there. But the advantage that it gives with the new technologies is crazy, really. It's endless in that sense.
Wow. And do clients nowadays going more for the brand trends thing, or do people come up with their own stuff? Like, I have my own creativity and I want to have my own design. And let's say the wife choosing the colors and the type of kitchen, or is it still, what I mean is, do they follow the trend? Do they see it somewhere and then they bring it like, I want it like that? Or she sits and she goes along with her own comfort, like what is her lifestyle requires to have in terms of like how many mates she has, how many drivers she has, you know what I mean? What is like with more?
I wouldn't say there is a formula there, but what I know that capitalism is really strong. What do you mean? What I mean by that, the
Right.
brands are very strong.
Strong, right?
So brands, they are really. If you are looking for, okay, let's give this analogy. I like this analogy a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, there's the Ferrari brand, right? But let's now dissect Ferrari. Like Ferrari is not Ferrari. There is Ferrari Rome, and there's La Ferrari.
Yeah.
And there is a vintage Ferrari. Like one of them is like 100 million, the other one is 15 million, and the other one is 1 million, and there is also 500, 600,000 dirham Ferrari.
And on resale, you can even get cheaper.
Maybe you can find a maybe crashed one. You can get so
For free sometimes.
These are all called Ferrari, right?
Right.
But actually, a vintage Ferrari is something else, right? So what you're looking for there in terms of that, high end. So it's all about the.
Or do they want to put
the
Ferrari
car-
inside the room to have the Ferrari there and that's it?
No, what I'm trying to give you is the analogy. Take this analogy and let's go back to the other brands also. So we have Mercedes, BMW, Toyota, right? All of them good cars, by the way.
Yeah.
All of them will take you from point A to point B. A house is like that also. A simple door will make you.
Yeah, you can
go.
sleep, you can eat.
Yeah, exactly. But what is that thing? Is I think is the Maslow pyramids, right? So the more you go up, the self-actualization comes up. So some clients see this one as a expression of their, wealth.
Status.
Yeah, so status, exactly. It's a symbol of status, obviously.
Right.
And also, I think the best ones are the three combinations. One, of course, you have to have the resources for that. Two, you had to have made mistakes before. So experience to do any kind of space is something very important. And three is the vision. So the vision comes, I think the vision comes about like, what do you want to do? You want to do something. You can do two things there, I think. One, you can do whatever is being repeated in that luxury segment and do a good version of that. Or you want to add something that's not been tried.
Something like new innovation kind of.
Exactly. For example, standards, if you look at standards, houses, luxury houses, around, let's say the grid for structure is around 8-9 meters.
Yeah.
Okay, maximum 12. So every 12 meters you see a column. I'm talking about really, large villas. Or maybe even buildings, normal buildings. But if you go for something crazy like 20 meters, for example, you have to use a different system. Like all of a sudden, from the beginning, I changed the game with this one word. I don't want columns. So this, of course, puts stress on the full. But
How then?
No, you need to put a lot of engineering there.
Yeah.
You need to spend money on that one. So that vision is there or not. By the way, I'm not judging people. It doesn't mean that the other one is less valuable.
Right.
It's about what you want. So it's about their philosophy. But from the way I see, it's a mixture of things. Because don't forget, here the clients are vast. They are from India, Pakistan, from Europe, from even USA now, from Russia, from Ukraine, from Turkey, like really different types. And don't forget, everyone comes with their own supply chain background. So they bring something all here.
Yeah.
There are really good now Russian subcontractors that I know, that because they have really learned a lot of good construction in Russia, in Ukraine, in Turkey. They are bringing everything the best they have.
Right.
With that supply chain, the way of working also. And I think the best thing of Dubai is that variety that it offers also.
As much as nationalities we're having, right? As many variations
I
we're
think they
going
have
to have.
200.
It's like the cuisines. I feel it the same with the food. You open up Talabat and you have to do this.
Yes. I think that's really...
So now the choice is also coming, right? Because obviously, let's say Indian client will never build the same as Russian client or other way around. Or even, Europeans that are more like modest, more kind of...
Yeah.
Can say they look at the simplicity.
But more...
the Eastern more into, let me put some gold all over the place.
I think it's about this culture also affects. Of course, now modernism comes with a lot of different you cannot have stereotypes like
No,
a
not
very
anymore.
any nation can come and they can be having very classic style, or they can be very modern also. There is a lot of surprises there. But if you're coming back to your trans and what do you call it, sorry, trans, you said trans and other thing anyway.
Trends and brands, yeah.
Brands, yeah, trans and brands discussion.
Like the influence.
Yes. So this, if you come back to that one, I think always there is a trend going on there, but it's mostly derived by the people coming in, and also the money that you want to spend. So that trend is about, for example, Dubai had the advantage of this amazing growth, and there was really, really, even now, amazing brands, very high end. It's accumulated here.
We can see it in the hotels as well, how much hotels
Exactly.
are now putting their own. Even the latest Benghazi launched along with Mercedes. So now we're going to have in Business Bay a Mercedes Tower. Because when you spoke about Ferrari, I thought, Mercedes, the tower is coming.
Yeah. So coming back to that, spectrum, and this the trends and the brands thing, I think trends are all defined by the different people coming, the investors, the money, and the location, obviously. But branding is more solid, I think, because brand is all about a certain royalty that the people have. They are loyal to their brand, and even they change city, for example, they want to use, for example, Polyform for the wardrobes, or Minotti for their, for their.
And I think that's the reason why a lot of developers now collaborating with the brands,
Exactly.
like, high fashion brands, car brands. And as you said, every brand has their loyal public, and those people are so much. Like Armani, for example, going to have this one on the palm. Outstanding, right? So
I think also brands gives a kind of a security to people, that it says that it sets a level.
Yeah.
So people come with an expectation there, and also kind of a trust, say that, this brand will have a certain limitation.
they wouldn't jeopardize their names to make
exactly,
something
exactly.
bad.
I think that's kind of something,
Makes
and
sense.
easy to market also, of course. Marketing is one of
Marketing is much easier.
the marketing is very
But I
easy.
can't say my personal opinion, but for investment, not always. For investment,
agree, because
sometimes this name.
I agree, because you're saying the right thing, because the premium is being taken by the developers.
By the marketing.
Yeah. So they are not necessarily always especially first time it comes up, but they are so unique that usually the end buyer is not really thinking about a premium in that sense.
True. It's more lifestyle properties.
Yes, exactly, lifestyle properties. I think it's a very good way of putting it. Yeah.
By the way, talking about lifestyle or business, we do have this, we call it a trend, flipping trend, where people take, for example, some companies, they go and buy a nice villa in Palm Jumeirah, but it's already not nice. It's been a while there. It's already a little bit out of fashion, let's say, and the maintenance needs to be done. And, because it's been since 2005, approximately they started to build. So what they do amazing design inside and resell it. So this is, they call it now, and not only with villas, there are a lot of different apartments, even Royal Atlantis, for example. We can see how it's nice fit out inside from developer, but you cannot say it's wow.
Yes, you're right. Now, I understand that, because, to really do something wow inside, they really need to spend a lot of money on a massive scale. And maybe it's not the right thing to do in the beginning for a developer from their perspective. I understand that. But coming to that flipping, now the flipping is, especially if you're buying secondhand, I'm not talking about the first one. Flipping has this, this
Other
we have
side.
this we have the other side, because there is cycles right there, right? So you have to buy really on the bottom side. The more it goes up, so the more people start flipping, there is more opportunity for the second-hand buyer to say, okay, maybe I should sell right now because I want to, cash out my profit.
Correct.
So Dubai kind of surprised us a lot in that
very
sense,
much.
because we don't know now, are we on the top? Well, they are saying, for example, this year 5 to 10%, there might still be increase on that. But we know that in the arbitrage scale, with London and Singapore, still Dubai is cheap. So you never know when this will go. Of course, this flipping is usually in the older areas rather than rent. But I don't think we should only focus in Dubai, the Palm or Marina. There are a lot of like JVC, for example, could be an interesting place to be, maybe in the midterm. There are many opportunities, I think, in Dubai in that sense. But of course, to seize them and take the risk when everyone is not going in that direction is a very tough decision to
And
take
it's also
also.
a big investment. Imagine, first of all, you're buying the property, then you invest into upgrading this property to the level, because Royal Atlantis is a level. It's not like just you want to put a wooden floor in.
Of course, yeah.
Obviously, there is more. And then having that client, that profile of the client who will buy it. Because obviously, yes, there are people who is looking for this type of style, but what if I have this money for Royal Atlantis, but I don't like the style that you've done? Maybe because I'm already sophisticated if I'm going to that direction. I want my own way. I want, and maybe that's where comes the interior company when they do everything the way I want it.
I think so. We always ask clients when they come to us for such things, the benchmark that they are looking for. What's their benchmark? Like, let's not talk about money now. What we want to achieve, like, because now the clients have this chance from Pinterest, from Instagram to show what they really want. There is something that influenced them. Other than that final visual aspect, I think once that has been set, I think the next question is that how long you want to do it, because that time is very important also, especially in properties like that, what you're saying, because to get the approvals and everything is not that easy. You have to be very careful on that.
So there is
process.
also time for approvals, not only
Of
the
course.
design. Yeah.
And also there are some limitations on the things that you can do. It's been clearly defined
By the
in there.
master developer or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
So those things kind of, if you want to, break walls and combine them, you have to take the landlord approval, the municipality, civil defense, especially in the high towers like that.
Yeah.
So if you put all this together, that after the time and the actual amount that you want to spend, I think you already kind of shape up that one. Now, you might be telling me, Jem, I want something to look like Ferrari, but I want to pay Toyota price. Well, that's not possible.
I'm sure 90% of the clients want that.
We can make it, but it will not look like a Ferrari, because the way the Ferrari become is because it's Ferrari.
It will be Dragon Mart version.
Exactly. I'm not saying that Dragon Mart is bad in that sense. Dragon Mart has, for example, Dragon Mart is one of the best places you go. See that much of supply chain in one location, buy everything and then come back. I can actually bet you on that one. I can do a very nice villa, I'm sure, with Dragon Mart by combining right elements there, because there's quality product there also. But the thing is that extra mile that you have. Do you have it? Of course you don't.
That taste, you say, that level.
Taste and also this extra mile. I'm talking about very, very specific things, the way of course that's not going to be there, because that's not what we are talking is there in the luxury segment. It's a niche market. Is the number of end users there are limited.
Correct.
We are talking about thousands,
Of course.
not millions. But Dragon Mart is actually
that's millions.
and it has an amazing place to be, honestly, in that sense. And Dubai has that. Many places don't have that kind of things because of the internal regulations, laws to protect the. So to have a Chinese market, we are very lucky here, honestly, in that sense.
I don't know if I should ask, or can I ask you that question? What was your biggest order, biggest client in terms? Okay, let's not talk names. But,
no, I think I can tell this one.
Yeah.
It's actually one of the very successful luxury developers, Alpago Properties. Then when they started beginning, we were actually started with these billionaires row with them. I'm talking about probably 5-6 years ago. We have started with them. Alpago Properties was probably one of my biggest clients in that sense. We learned a lot together, and I think we have delivered almost 5 very good villas there.
Nice.
And one of them has been sold last year for 300 million dirham.
Oh.
Yeah. But again, this is one of the highest level possible, and developer probably can reach in that sense. They are really, they had this really good vision, and also this experimental approach where
Like
they
open mind in a way.
open-minded, and also they were ready to experiment, which was, we were talking about this vision, in the beginning of that client, the self-actualization.
Yeah.
Of course, to do this one from a commercial perspective is a difficult task. You have to be a little bit, compromising on that profits that you're gonna have. But I think from that perspective, I couldn't name because they are a brand here in Dubai. But of course, I cannot tell you the private people because I don't think it's gonna be.
We keep it quiet. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the privacy is very important.
For sure.
If maybe I would go back, I would maybe keep even my some of my Instagram things more private, because I think in this luxury level, I think especially if you are doing somebody else's house, I don't think you should be sharing those things unless it's not a commercial thing,
Correct.
in general speaking. But we respect all the clients. We have very VIPs that we never share their houses.
That's important.
So
for sure.
that's all about that initial agreement that you have with them. They let you sign an NDA, and then you are by contract, you cannot share anything.
Basically, you're not allowed.
Non-disclosure agreements. Yeah.
And we do that with some properties as well.
I think that's the way it is. Whoever provides the resources also gives you the chance to gives you the rules how everything will be done. But I'm happy for that. I don't have any problem with that.
I think also as a company, once you build a brilliant reputation, you don't need that much marketing. I mean,
I think word of mouth, I think, is one of the
Yeah.
best thing. Not only for your client side, but also your supplier side.
like in terms of payment, how in time and
Payments,
everything you're maintaining.
professionality, because you should not keep on changing what you're doing. You have to have a system. You have to be trustworthy. It's not easy, honestly speaking,
can
to do all of them at the same time. But honestly, we are trying our best. We really value the integrity and the trust that we have with all our
I think
stakeholders.
if you're looking at the long term and you have been in Dubai for so long, then you understand the value of the long-term relationship with the same clients, because they turn to be, first of all, repeated customer at the end, and also they refer you to so many, like one client, amazing client can give you another 15 amazing clients, because it's a circle of people and level of people that they're dealing with, right? But do you also take like smaller budgets, or it's just like fine?
Honestly, we take small budgets also. We don't look at that one in that sense. We just want to understand what angle we can add value there. If it's a small one, is it a job that we can really add value? Because I can tell you there is millions of jobs in Dubai for different companies. So you just need to choose the right job for yourself. I think it's the best thing is to say no as much as you can, so you can actually find the right client for you that will make a meaningful business relationship.
Yeah, like maintaining your profile at the end.
Maintaining your profile, and also because you have to have this willingness to pay to you on the high side. So how you can do that one, you have to increase your quality, but also not increasing your cost that much. So you have to keep that one, but if you don't increase your costs, you cannot get the best suppliers also. So there's a huge balance that you have to keep all the time while you are living your life. Because that's, I think, the most difficult thing, to be giving a value that, I can give you an example of this, iPhones that we have. Like we talk to our friends, like, how much you gonna give more for your iPhone? Probably I can tell you honestly, 500. If they tell me 2,000 dirham more, if you give otherwise you will not have iPhone. I will still give 2,000 dirham more to one iPhone, whatever the cost is now. Am I the same thing for a client? I think that makes you aware. I would still pay a little bit more to CK if they still give me this one. This willingness to pay is the key thing. And it's really hard in our job because we have relation with a client almost 2 years.
Of course.
So this is a long period of time to keep a relationship, other than like any kind of trading, because to build a house, even a fit out takes 6 months, you know.
And it's a kind of a commitment for a client as well to sign up for a long term, you know, like what if they just, I don't know, something happened in between within this period of time and they don't continue anymore? Can those cases happening?
Yes, of course. There's always in the contracts there is termination clause.
Termination clause,
So I don't think that doesn't happen all the time, but it happens. You just take it forward and just follow the general rules there. But interestingly, you know, for example, nobody could have ever considered that COVID can happen.
Yeah, that's one
So,
of the unpredictable
it's
things.
unpredictable, and we were doing a couple of projects at that time. We were just in the middle. We didn't know what to do. Who would know something like that can happen? So a lot of surprises are coming all the time. You know, a lot of surprises.
And that's what experience for. Once you pass
Exactly.
surpass the surprises,
Of
you're
course.
already so much equipped mentally how to handle those type of things because you're already, you know. A little bit of more a personal question. Like I feel like people who are related to architecture and designs, they are, first of all, for me, they're super talented because it's a gift from the God, in my opinion. But did you, as yourself, from the childhood, did you like feel like, oh, I'm gonna have this type of company when I was a child, or I have a passion to housing and designs, and was it from there, or you just choosing the field and went for
I
it?
just want to, you know, just tell you the whole story that in a short way.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, I was always thinking, you know, because I'm coming from a science high school, it's a special high school, and but science is boring.
Yeah.
What do you mean boring? I'll just give an example so it will make sense. I think if you set the rule for science, for example, in sea level, water boils 100 degrees. It's set. Everywhere in the world you can test it.
Yeah.
Okay, but art is not like that. Art is
Yeah,
very
it's
different.
unmeasurable.
Yeah, there is so many different ways of art. Art is not boring. Every time it changes, there's colors, there's culture, there's a lot of things. Science is boring, but when you combine both, you do something.
Right.
So I was always, you know, looking for something that, you know, that and I can enjoy. I think architecture, design, in terms of design, in general, in design, it was one of the best decisions that I have given in terms of going to an architectural school. One of the good ones also in Turkey is called Mimar Sinan, 150 years old school, and it's been actually supported by the German professors running from the Second World War from Germany, because they come to Turkey and they kind of establish a very good foundation 1950s. So I was lucky in that, getting that education also there, because it was very fundamental education, honestly. It took like 6-7 years for me, of course, but I was not
Like a doctor.
like a doctor, because, you know, they were like saying, oh, Cem, maybe you should repeat this year one more time, because we believe that, you know, because really it was a tough school, honestly. And it really to have this architectural school in Istanbul also was a good thing for me, because I have seen a lot of you know, nice old architecture there that I learned from, as well as modern ones, honestly, because there is really good supply chain and interesting creative people there. But when I have understood, I mean, now what you do for, they say like between 20, in your 20s you work for somebody,
Yeah.
and then in 30s you start working for
Thinking of
yourself,
like, yeah.
and then later on maybe you can actually open. So I'm 43 years now. I've been having my own company for the last 13 years.
Wow.
Now and I was working for some other people when I was in my 20s. So if I check what is architecture now, I would probably say architecture is not science, not art, not business, because but if I have to choose one, I think it's more about art, because you are picking people, you are making people happy in some ways. You are delivering some, but it's not really something that, because if you give something repeated, people will don't like it. They want
Yeah.
uniqueness.
The one.
If you give it too expensive, they will not also like it. You need to give also a reasonable price for that one. So to balance this much of things, I don't think it's science, because science should have a formula. If I give you now this one, the same like the water example
I
I
think you
give you.
can't find formula for the human beings in general.
No.
The real estate is the same thing.
Exactly. I think real estate is, they always say, oh, invest in real estate is a passive income. I don't believe that. You need to be really active in real estate. It's an active business, you know.
Or you have to have someone who is involved all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not a passive income. I never believe that. From the day I understand this business, it's not passive income. People think that rent will come. Well, it will not come. If you do the wrong things,
Wrong things will happen.
wrong things will happen, and a lot of wrong things may happen in this business.
Definitely. And we saw that in Dubai, actually, with some
yeah.
people. Jem, it was lovely having you. I don't know how this hour passed, to be honest. It's seriously.
I told you I can talk hours.
Well, but you know, I think we still would talk a lot more because there was so many angles that, I mean, I love the subject and I genuinely respect the industry because we are so close to you guys. We're basically, maybe we are selling and then they're coming to you to do to do everything. So thank you so much. And
pleasure.
yeah,
Thanks
I'll
for
be
having
happy to
me.
see you again.
Thanks for having me.